folks over here to learn something about the shipyard across the way. Well, I'm here to tell you. This Professor Johnson fella came around here one day just kind of cold, talking to me about this stuff, and he sat over there in that chair and was talking about it, and we were just chatting. And finally he said, Mr. Sanders, we get down to the interview. And I said, it'll be fine. By that time I hear my wife coming in the back door. Well, as fate would have it, he'd asked that question right to begin with. He said, Mr. Sanders, can I have your full name for my record, please? She barrels through the door and squalls out, his name is Andrew Scarborough Sanders. His initials are ASS. She loved to tell that story on me every time she got a chance, and I knew it was going to happen. Well, Professor Johnson was curious about how the shipyard started, and I told my brothers and I, we got together and put together a little yard and started trying to build it up. And by the time we got going really good, I got called off to War I, and I was the commander of the USS Bailey in the Hudson River up in New York, protecting them from the enemy. Well, I came back from there, and we commenced to really trying to put the yard together for a first-class operation. You wanted to know how we got involved in contracts with the Navy. Well, between World War I and World War II, we built the yard up, as I said, to be a real first-class operation, and had lots of good craftsmen, fine craftsmen working for us. All kinds of great tradesmen. We put together a good crew, and when World War II came about, we weren't affected by it much because most of our fellows were older and didn't end up having to go off to war. The older fellows were able to train other fellows, and we kept things going. Kept going real good. Before that, we'd done a lot of small contracts with the Navy and everything, so we learned how to do the bidding and how to compete with that. So we ended up with some pretty nice contracts. Well, you wanted to know exactly what kind of vessels we built here. My recollection, we built 15 110-foot yard tugs that displaced 400 tons. They were pretty stout yard tugs. They had nice modern equipment and machinery on them, and those tugs would go out and service all the fleet out in the ocean and bring them into the ports and push them around and show them around in all the old ports and stuff. It was great. Good little stout working boats. Then we also built 110-foot subchasers. We built 28 of those here, and that was more built here than any other shipyard in the United States. There were 400 total built in the whole United States. And 28 of them here at a cost of about $500,000 a piece. Awful lot of folks working during those days. Yeah. They worked for three shifts a day most of the time, and he wanted to know how many people, because that's an awful lot of work to be done. Well, about 350 worked here most of the time, all wonderful craftsmen. We've never been able to do it without all the people that were working with us. Great, great folks. He also wanted to know how all this affected my life and my wife's life. And I told him, well, we lived in a reasonable place and enjoyed ourselves here, and I got a nice machine shop in the backyard. Love to go out there and fiddle around and engraving and doing stuff like that. And Mame, she likes to go off and play bridge. Well, we had an old stove back here in the back that she used to keep fired up all the time. Kitchen stove. If she wanted to cook, she had to have a hot stove, so I had to keep it warm all the time. So I'd go over the yard and collect the wood scraps and throw mahogany and teak and all kinds of stuff in there to get that thing fired up. And she'd go in there and cook occasionally. Well, one day in the summertime, when it was blooming hot in here, me and some of the boys were out in the machine shop, thought about it for a while, and talking back and forth, we decided we'd put ourselves a still together. So we fashioned ourselves a small still, put it back there in my machine shop. Next time she takes off to go play bridge, we see her car leave, know she's not going to come back early. One of the mechanics come over here, get that still, put it on that hot stove in the back, and we make ourselves a little knit for later on in the day. Nothing wrong with that. Medicinal purposes, of course. Yeah, well, the other thing that was good about all those times was we were fortunate enough to have one of the first color TVs in Elizabeth City. I'll never forget it. Mr. Malachi Burgess brought that thing in. It was a huge behemoth sitting right over here in this corner. Had antennas all over the top of the house and everything, and he's over there hooking stuff up. Maine's sitting over there on her couch watching what's going on. All of a sudden he fired that thing off, and things got warmed up, and there he was, Lawrence Welch. Boy, she loved his music like nobody's business. She loved Lawrence Welch, and he's messing with that TV a little bit more, and all of a sudden the screen turns green, Lawrence Welch turns green, and Maine screams out, "Stop!" Mr. Malachi turns around to her and says, "What's wrong, Miss Sanders?" She says, "I love green." So from that day on, that color TV stayed green. That's the color she wanted until the day it died, and they had to carry it on out of the house. Green forever. You know, I hear that I'm being summoned elsewhere, and there might be a nib involved. Why don't y'all go in there and enjoy those photographs of what I've been talking about, and we'll talk to you later on. Thanks for coming by.